What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Masi Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Masi Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
tried to line it up, and he was like, I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it up, but niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you're gonna be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't need these. Fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like, hey, man. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You good? Go ahead, I got my brother already. Peanut, what's the word, my brother? What's the champ?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but Lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dude. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
So you heard that. If Sean P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over here, right?
Sutek wanted so this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you, and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't on his
No problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up the Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that song, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
Let's have one. I love to tell Sutek, tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Album pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. We'll make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. You heard it right here. He ain't ducking no phase, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, but then when we get in other
Hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there, nigga. Stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga lie on me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me and I don't be
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother. And
the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, oh, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like,
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family,
He
but y'all
died
ain't
by
find
his
y'all?
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
feel like you standing on business.
And y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of meat. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of meat. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.
Man, I appreciate everybody tapping in. It's your boy Sean P in the place to be. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, it's up. Good afternoon to everybody in the chat. I see Jeremy, West, Zane, Vasa, EIE in the building. We got Willie, what up, though? Edward, Zane. I seen the sisters, I Ballard, Juju, Melanated Goddess, the Bar Reloaded, which is live, arguing over religion. Infinite Minds, Teti. I don't want to forget anybody, man. And those of you who are listening and haven't spoken in the chat or anything like that, peace to you. Those of you who are catching the replay, do me a favor, like the show, share the show. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get into they came before Columbus, right? The Aboriginal version. But you can't really get into the Aboriginal version without actually dealing with information from the sources that they are extracting that from and then twisting and turning it into their myth. So what I want to present to people is a fair opportunity for you to learn something and hear from the horse's mouth what's going on. So I'm going to I'm not going to withhold anything. I'm getting directly to the smoke. I need to share my screen, and I ain't trying to get a copyright strike. So y'all see the brothers up on the screen for a reason. Now, mind you, I'm gonna play a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna get into some things. A lot of people have come to a conclusion that me in particular, and I don't want to name anybody else. I just want to just put the emphasis on me. And I am attacking Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. I have professed to tell y'all through a period of learning about Van Sertima and his claims that it is not him that I am attacking, it is his sources. So I'm going to show y'all exactly what I mean by his sources. Now, if y'all don't recall, Van Sertima did a lecture. In the lecture, he touted his chest among people that were listening. He said, we got all the primary evidence. I did the linguistic work. I did this. I did that. We got this. We got that. We compared this. We compared that. Right? He started talking about all this evidence that he supposedly had collected. When you go back and you actually look at said evidence that's being used to argue, it is not coming directly from Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, but it is coming directly from other people insinuating other things. So now you separate him from his sources. And y'all are going to see something very familiar with the writing style of Dr. Van Sertima as it pertains to information that has been provided in that book. This is how I know that Black people in America have not read They Came Before Columbus. And those who have read that They Came Before Columbus just black out all the way, is hung on every word. This is the era not only the elders we respect in the community has made, but other people. So you should be able to see just the picture on the screen, and I'm gonna play this.
Presence in ancient America. A great deal of research has been done. One has become aware of far more things that have emerged from excavations that help to confirm with almost an absoluteness what we have advanced in the past, that there were Africans in America before Columbus. They came to America not as slaves, but as masters. I am not the first to suggest there were Africans in America before Columbus, nor is anyone in the modern period. Columbus is the first man to suggest it. In his diaries.
All right, so the first claim that is made in this lecture is that Columbus is the first person to suggest that Africans were here before him. Dr. Van Sertima uses Columbus's diary, and he is about to tell you. But does the diary actually say what Dr. Van Sertima utters right here?
And there is a marvelous book, a huge book, a trilogy, in fact, published in 1904 by John Boyd Thatcher, 3 volumes. It covers more than 1,200 pages, which deals with all the diaries and voyages and journals of Columbus, in which he points out that on his...
So he uses not Columbus, but someone else's 3-volume works regarding Columbus's voyage. Now remember, he says Columbus said, but this isn't what Columbus says. This is what Thatcher is saying. So now he went from saying Columbus said to now in Thatcher's 3-volume set. This is the problem right here, ladies and gentlemen. When we talk about research methodology and we talk about dealing with primary research, which has been touted, the actual problem is that we don't get a direct source from Columbus. We are now yielding to someone else. And what does this someone else say?
His second voyage, Native Americans of Haiti, which was then known as Hispaniola, came to him and told him that black people had come in large boats from the south and the southeast, trading with the Americans in gold-tipped metal spears.
Okay, so now listen to the claim one more time.
Had come in large boats from the south and the southeast, trading with the Americans in gold-tipped metal spears.
One more time. What does Thatcher say that Columbus says in his journal?
And known as Hispaniola, came to him and told him that black people had come in large boats from the south and the southeast, trading with the Americans in gold-tipped metal spears.
Columbus' journal never utters that black people came from the south carrying gold tips. See, your boy was on here the last time that I was doing the show. What's his name from down there in Florida? The one that I told him I'm gonna smack the shit out of him when I see him, and I'm still gonna do that. Hassel, whatever his name is. He said that Van Sertima never said that, so he wanted to refer to Van Sertima's book, right? So here's the lecture of Van Sertima making that assertion and that claim during this lecture. Yeah, Haskell. So one more time for Haskell.
Had come in large boats from the south and the southeast, trading with the Americans in gold-tipped south, that on his second voyage, Native Americans of Haiti, which was then known as...
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can easily do this. You can Google or you can pull up Christopher Columbus's second voyage. And you can read for yourself.
Española came to him and told him that black people had come in large boats from the south and the southeast, trading with the Americans in gold-tipped metal spears. Columbus did not believe this, perhaps, but he did a very cautious thing, which is very important to us, in that he sent samples of these metal spears back to Spain. And they were assayed, they were examined by the Spanish metallurgists, and they ruled that these spears had the same ratio of gold, silver, and copper alloys as spears then being forged in African Guinea. Furthermore, the Portuguese told Columbus when he returned from his first voyage, the Portuguese told Columbus that they were aware of Africans leaving from the Cape Verde Islands and going far to the west with merchandise in large boats. There are two things to bear in mind here. First of all, the Portuguese were aware of African navigation because the Portuguese had been in Africa since around 1450.
The Portuguese were aware of African navigation. Africans didn't have a navigational system. They were bound oceanic travel. So the only knowledge that the Portuguese would have on the Africans that they encountered when they entered West Africa would be regarding lakes, creeks, rivers. That will be the only knowledge. So, real quick, I'm going to come back to the video. Let me stop the video real quick. Let me take this off the screen. All right, so you remember when Haskell was up here, we went to page 13 of this volume or version of the book, of Ivan Van Sertima's book, and it says, the origin of the word guanin may be tracked down in the Mandi languages of West Africa through the Mandingo, the Kabunga, the Turunga, the Kankara, and the Bambara, the Mandi, and the V. In V, we have the form of the word Kani, which transliterated into native phonetics would give us guanin. I don't know how he got there. He doesn't give us an example. In Columbus's journal, gold is given as Koa-na, while guanin is recorded as an island where there is much gold. Fray Bartholomew de las Casas, the Spanish scholar who traveled with Columbus, who was often appalled by the linguistic blunders, even in the use of Castilian Spanish, wrote in the margin of the journal, correcting Columbus, this guanin is no island, but that gold, which is, according to the Indians, had an odor for which they valued it much. Similarly, in Raccolta, an Italian account of the voyage, one reads, there were pieces of guanin as large as the caravel's poop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that source that Van Sertima uses is from Leo Weiners, Africa and the Discovery of America, Volume 1. He does not list a page number for the book. If you have the book on page 20 of Van Sertima's book, you can look at footnote number 37, and he does not provide a page number, only the book. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the book. Give me a second, and I'm going to get it pulled up to where y'all can see it. Right now, you probably only see a clear white screen. It's because I am loading the page. For some apparent reason, when I tried to zoom out, I messed up something. So, here is Lacasas, right? He said on page 15, I said 13, my bad, 13, not 15, even though it comes back up on page 15. But he says, Guanin, and he mentions Fray Bartholomew Lacasas. So here is Lacasas right here, okay? Now, you heard me say that he said about what Columbus did. He says, Fray Bartholomew de las Casas, the Spanish scholar who traveled with Columbus and whom was often appalled by his linguistic blunders, even in the use of Castilian Spanish, wrote in the margin of the journal correcting Columbus, this Guanin is no island, but that gold, which according to the Indians had an odor for which they valued it much. Right? So that's what he says. So here is where you get Lacasas out of Van Sertima's book, which is also in his source using Leo Weiner. It says a similar blunder seems to be due to Lacasas in the case of the Guaminicus, whatever this word is. He says, and they found much of the fish connies on the island, which called the whatever the word is. Herrera writes, now pause real quick. In Van Sertima's book, Van Sertima says that Lacasas points out Columbus's linguistic error. In Weiner's book, Weiner says a similar blunder seems to be due to Lacasas. So Weiner is saying that there is a error that is going on with Lacasas as he goes down, and we get rid of all the Spanish mudo judo, and it says this because they're describing things, but they're dealing with this word that seems to be similar to guanin, but it is all over the place. So I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. And then it talks about the first voyage mentioned here, which is what we ain't on. We right here on the second voyage. Okay. So the Italian version of the second voyage says that wherever Ouida journeyed through the country where the Indians already knew of the Christians. It happened that whenever the admiral passed there, came said Indians into the streets to receive him with presents. Early in the journal, the Spanish version of La Casa says that on November the 27th, there came a boat full of Indians and it went up to the admiral's ship. And they asked for him, saying, Almirante. And they received the answer that they could come in and that he was there. Again, under August 23rd, 1494, that is, after the event first quoted, the same Spanish version writes, there came to the ship's lord of Saki on the island of Almirante, in other words, where the Italian version simply says that he called the admiral by his name. From all these, it follows that the Spanish version of the first incident, which contains a supposedly Indian word for the Almirante, is based on a blunder. The Spanish version runs as follows: Ye porque había enviado el Almirante a Alonso de Hoya, de Hoda. Then it goes on in more Spanish, right? Okay, I ain't reading that shit. And then it says, and they knew that the Guamiquina of the Christians had come, arose in the marginal gloss Almirante. Apparently, Columbus was not guilty of this ghost word. We can study the formation of another word because he's going in this linguistic tangent in this book. This is volume 1 of his book, and he says all of these things. But I'm skipping ahead because none of this shit is resonating with anybody that's listening right now until you hear what you need to hear. So I am going to go to where you're going to hear what you should be hearing. It's a lot of Spanish, Italian, excuse me, being mentioned. All right. So according to the accounts of blah, 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 supplied some of the surface in the bodies against the fish and the turtles get caught. That the story of Ferdinand Columbus and Las Casas is older or based on an original version of which Valdez got his version. Is proved from Bernaldez, which has no meaning as to the word of yada, yada, yada. Nope. Still don't hear what you want to hear? Let's go. In Ferdinand Columbus' account of the second voyage, the passenger under discussion is preceded by the sentence, Vendici menacamente en questa sol corvi and gu yada yada yada. Basically, what it says means a cormorant, and this suggests a story of catching a fish and the cormorants and told and the yada yada yada. Nope, still don't hear what you want to hear. It's because it's on down some. But I'm just letting y'all know that they are describing what is being written in one language and discussed in another about what's going on around there, but it's pretty much regarding fishing. Excuse me, and animals. All right, so get to the part where Van Sertima uses dude. All right, I got you. My bad. I just thought y'all might be interested in context. All right, so here we go. The enormous amount of balderdash contained in this passage can be discussed only in connection with the forgery of Columbus Conjector, Ramen Payne, but a few points of minor importance may be taken up separately. When the Sakik is first mentioned in the Journal of the Second Voyage, it says of him that he was the master of the mines. Similarly, Peter Martyr speaks of him as the master of the mines. There obviously existed some Sakik whose atrocities and deaths are accounted for in the journal, but his name, Kuanabo, were a philological camouflage. The burrito, which got its material from Peter Martyr, gives away the whole story. For here we have, our people understood also that there was a certain king in the mountains from whence the rivers came, who was called Kazikio Kanabo. That is to say, Lord of the House of Gold. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get back to Van Sertima's book real quick, because it's something that I'm looking for that he don't even make mention. Nope, he don't even make mention of it. All right, let me continue. So we see this Lord of the House of Gold come up. Bo meaning house. Kano meaning gold. Look at this word. Kano meaning gold. And Kazikio means king. Watch this. We have already seen that Kano is the Mandi word for gold. So he appoints in this book, Leo Weiner is being he. He appoints that there is a word for gold in the Mandi language. That word for gold is what you see on the screen. Okay, and then similarly, boa is the same as vai, boy, hut, shed without walls, resting merely on post. The word for house in the other Mandi languages is given in Koel as followed: Mandingo, Boing, Kambunga, Boingo, Toronko, Bo, Bambara, Bun, Boing, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not paying attention to what I am reading in its context, you are not picking up what I am putting down. I am going to clear this up for you in a second. He continues to go on. African oasis as Beat, Bet, Bay, This voice, recorded in Vai, lies at the foundation of the Bohia Bahua, the Spanish word for Indian house, which, like so many other words, has found its way into Arawak as Bahu. Similarly, Kazikio is the Mandi, Banbara, Dayula, Kantugi, chief of the general. This Tigi, owner, is attached to the word of which a man is the owner of a chief. Hence, Duga Tigi, chief of the village. Khan is Kantigi, means head. Hence, Kantigi, head chief. Unfortunately, it is not possible to determine precisely the dialect of the Mandi from which the Guinea scholar drew his etymologies. But since Kun head is found as Khan Ku in several of them, then the T and the S constantly changes in Mandi. There can be no doubt that the Kansigi was already founded in Mandi. Indeed, Stettinall records Sosa Kandizi chief, which would presuppose Kandizigi as a fuller form, that three words in juxtaposition should all turn out to be Mandi words, still using today in slightly changed forms, makes chance coincidence quite of the question. Besides, the word for gold here is found only sporadically in Ajalbi, for house only in Arawak, and the chief not at all. So there, and not in the Arawak, there is no word for chief in the Arawak. So what happens? It is certainly beyond the probability that the personal name of the chief in whose province gold was found should have been Lord of the Gold Mine. This name is just as much as a ghost word is that of the chief Gornias, which we have to be derived from the province, which itself is the result of the misreading of the Vari Omnes. We shall now take up on Romain Paine's account of the religion of the Indians. I'm going to skip the religion of the Indians as it ain't got nothing to do with what I'm dealing with. So let me just go ahead and let the cat out the bag. Ladies and gentlemen, this so-called linguistic work that is supposed to have been substantiated, reviewed, and provided ends up being the linguistic work of Leo Weiner. I've seen this story before, and this is where I said there is an error in the methodology of Van Sertima's book. Rule number one, you cannot rely on someone else. You just pulled a Juro Massey on people. Without you doing the work yourself, you relied on someone you deemed as an expert in something that ain't even really an expert in something, and makes the assertion. Now, I know y'all like, but hold on, he ain't said nothing about guanin yet, right? That's what y'all thinking. He ain't said nothing about guanin yet. So let's go to number 4. Guagiana went away with all his women and looked for the other countries and stopped at Mentino, where he suddenly left the woman, and he went to another region called Guanin. And they had left the little children near a brook. Later, when hunger began to trouble them, they say they cried and called their mothers, and who had departed, and their fathers could not assist their children who were calling hunger for the mother, saying mama, in order to say something, but in reality to ask for the breast, and weeping like this and asking for the breast, saying tutu, as when one yada 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 yada. So there's your first look at the word guanin in Leo Weiner's text. We continue on to find where Van Sertima gets this direct quote from Leo Weiner. Hai Guali Guanin, which means hyena's son. And from that time on, he was called Guanin, and is so called today. And since they have no letters nor writings, they cannot tell these fables well, and I cannot write them well. And so I think that he puts first what should be last, and last what should be first. But everything I write is just told that way by them. I write it, and thus I relate it as I understood it from the men of the country. He's telling you what he's doing. I think the last name should be, this name should be first, and that name should be last. So now you see the second instance of Guanin. But what does that have to do with gold-tipped spears? Or De La Casa's statement about correcting this? All of this is going on right here in this chapter, in the discovery of Leo Wiener's work. But where is this being related to? Because we have a supposedly direct quote from Leo Wiener in this book. And all we got for Guanin 2 times is an interest of a person's name and then some linguistic mumbo jumbo. But none of this is referring us back to this gold-tipped spears and this account that is claimed in Columbus Journal number 2. So basically what I am saying is there's a marrying of 2 separate informations being presented to people. And one, Leo Wiener is not the source for that. That's a false claim. 2, what Leo Wiener utters in his linguistic work makes absolutely no sense. 3, this is why the Moors use Leo Wiener, because he says shit about the Moors in the damn book as well. Now, I have looked over this chapter 4 times looking for the direct quote from Leo Wiener that is used in chapter 1 of Van Sertima's book. I'm not saying that he misquote. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong. The worst thing that he probably did, the one thing that he probably did that would be illegitimate here is he sources Leo Wiener, but he doesn't provide the page number and where we can substantiate where he got Leo Wiener's work, and then we can see where Leo Wiener supposedly got his statement from regarding what is quoted directly in his book. Ladies and gentlemen, I done been through this. I done did all of this. And my whole point is when mofos think they came before Columbus, it is all laid in the laps of other people. You're about to see a habit of this. And Leo Wiener is in every chapter of Van Sertima's book. Volumes 1, 2, and 3. I can go all day. We're not going to find the direct quote which is used in Van Sertima's book in this chapter. I'm not saying that it might not be somewhere else, or it could be in a whole nother volume on a whole nother page that I ain't even look at. But what I'm saying to y'all is, and as y'all see me scrolling regarding this quote right here, read it again for the masses. Fray Bartholomew de las Casas, the Spanish scholar who traveled with Columbus and whom was often appalled by his linguistic blunders, even in the use of Castilian Spanish, wrote in the margin of the journal correcting Columbus. Here is the quote. This Guanin is no island, but that gold, which according to the Indians had an odor for which they valued it much. Similarly, in Raccolta, the Italian account of the voyage, one reads, there were pieces of Guanin as large as the caravel's poop. We ain't found none of this. We found instances of Leo Wiener saying one thing, but here lies the problem. I can't find the quote in this version, in this chapter of this text. Am I saying that Van Sertima's wrong? No, I ain't, because he putting the burden back in the lap of Leo Wiener. Now it's up to us to verify that. This is the work that people ain't doing. You're not gonna find it. We're looking for this. Look, all right, so here we go. This right here is gonna come up in something else that you see on the screen. In other places, Lacasa speaks of the Roman have arrived in America 5 years before him, which would place the arrival of 1497 or the third voyage of Columbus. But this is an inadvertency of Lacasa's for Peter Martyr. In its 177th letter dated June 13, 1497, tell Ramon's labors, and is given a letter of 180th letter of July 27, 1497, gives in substance to the story related by him, so that Ramon must have arrived in America with Columbus, on a second voyage in 1494. This is born out of the Ramon's own statement that baptized the first Indian in yada yada yada. But this later date is only surviving Italian version of the account is unquestionably a mistake for the yada yada yada, that is 1494, since the first Christians were baptized while Ramon was in Morais. And we have specific statements at the time of the writing of this account, which Peter Morter testifies as yada yada yada. So what I'm saying here is, right, this significance goes back, and here we go with this word again. Chapter 4 of Ramon Payne's story shows that he was well acquainted with the first letter, since the name Matinino of the Women's Isle is by him used without any confusion. He speaks of Guanin as a region, whither Guangiana went after leaving the children of Montanino. Here, the story of the children, which the women kept, if they were girls, and sent back to the men, if there were boys, has blossomed onto a whole fairy tale. But Guanin is due to the same source, which in the journal of the first voyage produced the island, here you go, Guanin, where there was much gold. Indeed, Ramon Payne in the next chapter spoke in the islands of Guanin, which was so called because he carried away there. He showed conclusively that he knew that Guanin meant gold. In the next chapter, Ramon speaks Hispaniola old name Ati, while the island are called the Bahui. My point of all of this is this, ladies and gentlemen. In this chapter of the second, regarding the second voyage, we don't find a direct quote, but what we do find is Guanin could either be associated with a name of a person or a hierarchy or status of a person. And at the end of the chapter, Leo Weiner provides us with this person, Ramon Payne, referring to Guanin, meaning gold. We have zero, and I mean zero, linguistic work from the West Africans regarding the word Guanin. Zero. But we have Leo Weiner's linguistic gymnastics earlier on, which is what I referred to. This is why reading comprehension is essential, but also reading and understanding something is vital, because you have to know what you're looking at. So, chapter 3 is about tobacco. And it goes on. So now we didn't change the whole subject. We didn't got away from Guanin and we didn't moved on to tobacco. So the first problem with they came before Columbus, and it's more problems than this, but what I am trying to utter to you all is the first problem is how that key source used in chapter 1. Source number 37 does not have a fucking page number for us to substantiate and qualify something that is vital in the Black community among how people are interpreting this conversation of Columbus and his adventure into Hispaniola and the arrival of this whole claim about Guanin and then West African Guanin and the whole 9 yards. We have nothing to substantiate that paragraph, and this paragraph is essential because he says He brings Africa into the discussion. The origin of the word Guanin may be tracked down in the Mandi languages of West Africa through Mandingo, Kabanga, Turanka, Kankara, Banbara, and y'all heard me mention Mandi and V. This is the same thing that we just got out of Leo Weiner at the beginning of this when he was making mentions of those same West African tribes. It was remixed in the book, giving its own conclusion based on something that was not substantiated in this chapter. You can call that cherry picking all you want. I don't give a damn. Let's go back to the dear elder as we progress forward, and we're going to deal with another piece. We're going to go chapter to chapter.
In fact, it clashed with the Gambian Navy. The Portuguese also were aware of a landmass to the south as a result of African movements, which will come up later in my talk. And furthermore, Columbus had married a Portuguese woman. He had been to Africa in 1484 at the Portuguese fort at San Jorge de Minas. His brother Bartholomew had married a Portuguese. They were both aware of the Portuguese court, and in fact, they had been trying to get the Portuguese to finance their journey across the Western Ocean before he went to the Spanish courts. Not only do we have, therefore, the documents of the Portuguese and that of Columbus himself, and oral tradition of the Native Americans, and the fact that the Spanish metallurgists had ruled on this and shown that it
We have no oral tradition of the Native Americans saying that Black people were over here setting up a trade network and doing business with them. There's not one oral account that has been passed on or documented that says that they encountered Black people and was doing business with these Black people or these Negroes or these Africans or whatever you want to say them as. We have zero accounts of that. We don't even have the evidence to support such. Now I'm letting this play out because there is a problem. So now I want to deal with the next problem. Page 30. He sees them in ancient America simply as mercenary soldiers of the Phoenicians. Let me go back so you understand what I'm saying. They're talking about Africa and the Negro African presence and talking about in pre-Columbian America. So this quote comes up after, and he's regarding the book by Bailey, The God, the Kings, and the Titans. And this disclaims any indigenous base for African cultures before the Arabs or Romans. He says that African culture prior to Arab and Roman gold trade was an independent African invention is nonsense. He sees them in ancient America simply as mercenary soldiers of the Phoenicians. Leo Weiner, the Harvard philologist, assumes that the great Mali Empire of the medieval West Africa owed all its refinements, even its animist ritual and magic, to the Arab Islamic civilization. The Mandingo came to America before Columbus, he declares, but carrying another man's cultural baggage. He sees the Negro African as simply a conductor of Islamic cultural electricity. Pause. That quote comes from Leo Weiner in Africa and the Discovery of Americas. Then it says volumes 1 through 3, no page numbers. Once again, we have another quote coming from Leo Weiner with no page numbers and is listed in all three versions. First of all, the Arabs and Islamic culture has no influence, zero influence on the what you quote unquote call animist ritual and magic. Zero. Zero. And if there was an Arab Islamic influence on the Malian Empire, and they were the ones coming to America with this Arab Islamic influence, why the hell is Christianity here and not Islam before the goddamn Portuguese get here? Or even, before the Spanish get here, or even when the Spanish get here? Why do we not see Islam in the Americas? This is they came before Columbus. This is literally they came before Columbus, and you ain't got no archaeological evidence of the Islamic practices, cultural traditions in the Americas at all. But this quote is directly in Van Sertima's book, and he puts it back in the lap of Leo Weiner. Don't ask me where it is, because I ain't found it. It ain't no page number. And it's 3 volumes. The third volume of Leo Weiner's work is 513 pages. The second volume of Leo Weiner's work is 374 pages. The first volume of Leo Weiner work is 374 pages. The first volume is dealing with Columbus. So where in the hell in there is he talking about bringing some motherfuckers traveling before him and bringing his culture? It ain't a reality. And another problem is he has M.D.W. Jeffries that he quoted, that y'all probably heard me and Unc refer to, and Vazanar in here, which we dealt with as well. Those are other problems with the information in this book. Yet we ain't got shit on Guanin in the chapter that we just read. That's a problem. So I'm just trying to give you the rundown of the rundown on how this shit go down. And it's low down. How that happened to us. That's in chapter 2 of his book. It's titled The Visible Witnesses. How, Sway? Leo Weiner is telling us, according to Van Sertima, that the Arab Islamic civilization influence on the Malian Empire would be the reason for all this other stuff. You're passing the buck. Ain't that a fallacy? Ain't it a passing the buck fallacy or some shit? The man said the Mandinga came to America before Columbus, declares, but carrying another man's cultural baggage. So the Mandingas that came to the Americas was carrying somebody else's baggage, and yet we don't even see the practice of Islam pre-Columbus. That's point number 2. Point number 2. Now, let me play a little bit more of this motherfucking video. And I'm going to move on a little bit.
Was African, but furthermore, they have found a cotton in the Cape Verde Islands, a cotton.
Cotton. We skipped tobacco, and we're going to get the cotton. And guess what? I got the cotton. I got the volume to get the cotton now. I got the volume to get the cotton. But I don't know about having this cotton up in Van Sertima's book. Because Chapter 3 goes into the Mariner Prince of Mali, and we already know that's fake. We already know that's fake. I need to get to the Mandingo traders in medieval Mexico. Every chapter in this book, Van Sertimas quotes Leo Weiner. I'm telling y'all, every single chapter. But go ahead with this cotton.
Gossypium hirsutum var punchtatum, which they thought was African because it was just off Africa and it had been taken by the Portuguese as they settled in the Cape Verde and planted before Columbus in the Cape Verde Islands. When it was examined, the cytogenics of the cotton showed that it was not African, it was some cotton grown in the Caribbean and South America, which means cotton which had been grown in the Caribbean and South America had got into Africa before Columbus. How? Not only that, botanical evidence, but the navigational evidence shows, the oceanographic survey of the ocean shows that just off the Cape Verde there is a current that takes you to South America. There are 3 major currents off Africa, about 100 miles off the African coast, that take you automatically to America. Once you are caught in those currents, whether you planned it or not, you have to get to America unless the fish get you first. Anything that remains afloat is pushed towards America. Off the Cape Verde Islands, the current takes you in onto the northern tip of South America, into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. If you're off the Senegambia, it takes you to South America, into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. If you're off the southern coast of Africa, it takes you towards South America, and you could fall into the currents that take you into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. The evidence shows that, and I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt.
That's a big claim. There was Africans in the Americas before Christ. And we can establish this without a shadow of a doubt. Look at his face. Look at his face. Without the shadow of a doubt. Real quick, let me just get to this. So this is another Leo Weiner book, right? This is the Columbus shit, right? So here you go, part 1, cotton. All right, this is Leo Weiner, 1 of 82. Page 1 of 82, Leo Weiner. There's a whole lot of bull junk in that book, bro. I ain't gonna cap you down on that. This whole notion of cotton. The earliest datable references to cotton are found in 2 descriptions, the Assyrian Sennacherib and the year 694, and then there's another one, includes herbs and fruits, trees, products, mountains, yada, 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 Chaldea. I got a Facebook post about this whole cotton argument, and I have to get back to it, but I'm not going to take y'all through 82 pages of Leo Weiner, okay? There's some assertions here. You're going to see Assyrians, you're going to see Egyptian cotton, all of that stuff, right? In this book, as you can see, Africa and the Discovery of America, all of this is going to be related to trying to tie cotton in the Americas to cotton in Africa. Asia, and otherwise. Okay? There's going to be mumbo jumbo words, other claims, things like that that are made by Leo Weiner. This is the problem with it, because if you're thinking how I'm thinking, well, where the hell did Leo Weiner get this shit from? That's a good question. Leo Weiner is referring to other works, and he's doing this whole, he's doing the whole lookership shit. And he does not have the scientific data that we have today, which would probably make him retract a lot of some of the assertions that he's made regarding these different versions of cotton. Also, he is superimposing religion on damn near every chapter of everything that he reads. This is why you see Wasir or Osiris name showing up. It may be that the Arabs took the word over from the Egyptians before reaching Egypt, but this is not likely because we have no record of the Egyptians' use of cotton for purification. It is as far more likely that the Arabs got the custom from the Christian Copts, who employed cotton in their burial ceremony and in monastic vestments. In any cases, a distribution of the Arabic word among neighboring races shows that the cotton words in the type of posterior to the Arabic invasion. So what I am, let me give y'all the short and skinny without going a long way. What I am proposing to you is the people who said they always been in the Americas doesn't understand that if there's an African presence in the Americas, the motherfuckers came from Africa. There's no black people been here. The claim of black people already being here are the black people that came from Africa. Here's the problem that lies with the community, because you have people in the community says we was here before Columbus. So the people that was here before Columbus are actually Africans. But how did they get here? No one can explain to us how. They start saying all these different things and then trying to provide these so-called pieces of information that they're saying is evidence that doesn't substantiate or quite qualify pre-Columbus. When I told you that the main problem of they came before Columbus, the African presence in the Americas, was the issue with the sources, I ain't making the shit up. It's the sources that lead you to your conclusion based on the bullshit that you couldn't substantiate and the new scientific data that you did not have prior to your time, which is genetics. Look at your boy, man. He talking about cotton, and then he started talking about the Mohammedans take so much trouble is because the angel Gabriel will come to the dead man in the grave to examine him. Told you, he's religious, bro. Why is that even being brought up in here? Like, he just, it's crazy. And it's pages upon pages of craziness. Look. Let us assume that many of the other things include just these narrative products which Columbus did not mention. Let me go back. If Columbus told the truth, then it is exceedingly curious that the Indians should have known the value of parrots and cotton to the Spaniards, instead of offering them their native magui, maize, or dozens of other things which are common in the West Indies. He in his own world in his writings. But this is where the problem comes in. That's why you examining all this shit that he's saying, and you like, what? And even in his own work, Leo Weiner is distinguishing the Indians from the Negro in his own work. So you will get lost in who's the Indian then. You heard him talk about the Arawaks. You're going to get lost in his work because he's referring to all these different people. On October 13th, the Indians again brought spun cotton parrots and spears, and the Spaniards exchanged 3 quarters of the Portugal from 16 balls of cotton, which would be more than the arroba of spun cotton. Columbus sent the cotton, which grew on the island to the King of Spain. On October 16th, Columbus for the first time saw veils woven from cotton in clouts, worn by women. Similar breech clothes and hand mocks made of cotton were seen on October 17th. So I'm telling y'all, if you go look at Columbus's account, you ain't marrying it. Look at this version of cotton. I'm telling you, I got a post on this shit. It gets wacky. Can y'all see? Oh, y'all can't see that shit. My bad. Why y'all ain't say nothing, bro? Boom. There you go. My bad. Yeah. Alexandra von Watanabe is pseudo. But here's, and I wasn't trying to cover what I was reading. I forgot to take it down. But this is volume 2, volume 1. I mean 2, sorry. This is volume 2 of Leo Weiners' work. What I was just referring to and talking about and reading that y'all couldn't see was Leo Weiners' work. But here lies the problem. But I can do this in every chapter of Van Sertima's book. When you go into the later portions of the book, he starts to provide page numbers to Leo Weiners' claims. But he was touting as having primary evidence, and he does not have the primary evidence to show and put people anywhere. So how did I get here? So I was reading something for Kofi this morning, not this morning, a couple of hours ago, right? And it talked about griots. And I'm not going to bring this up as to insinuate anything because Kofi's going to deal with it on his time. But y'all should have seen how he talked about griots in his book. Even African, quote unquote, fetishisms and totemisms. There's going to be some issues and problems there. And he insinuates shit. And that's in volume 3. Which is the larger works. But let me put this on the screen. Now, we've read this a couple of times, so that I'm not going to hint or point out any other thing. You also can read this on JSTOR. It should have be available for JSTOR. But it's an article, Robbing Native American Cultures. And we've referred to this a few times. If you read this unbiasedly, you can understand what happens in this article. But then when they take their shots, right? When they take their shots, because they shoot at Diop, Chancellor Williams, you know what I'm saying? They get into that. You got to be able to respond to their shots. They can clear up misconceptions, but when they take their shots, that's where you got to step in regarding this. And this whole article is their argument against Van Sertima and the likes who are running with this myth. I don't even know why Diop comes up in this. It ain't even fucking Diop's argument. But they bring them in because they're saying that, which they don't understand Afrocentricity, but they're saying that Afrocentrics are hinged upon this thought process of Diop and his influence on how to look at information, but it is not Diop's claim. It's not Diop's argument. Diop has a whole separate conversation that has nothing to do with blackness in the Americas. And so you can't blame Diop. And we'll go from there. And so I don't even know why they do that. And this whole Olmec Nubian thing is not a Diop claim. It's all Van Sertima. So why the fuck would you even bring that up? But anyway, I wanted to let y'all know that all of that is in the description of this video. But y'all remember when we brought this up the other day, about Melgar, right here in 1862, when Elgar said the heads look like the Ethiops, right? When he made his assertion, Melgar, it's a little before this about the colossal heads, but y'all kind of get where I'm going with that whole claim. All he did was use lookership. And people are saying that they got a mountain of evidence and then they don't even understand what's going on with what's going on. So, let's see. What up, Kevin Troy? All right, okay. So I was just looking to chat, my bad. So let me get to something else real quick. Y'all remember how A1 and AP and was having a whole issue with the monkey stuff, right? They were just having this issue over and over and over. So let me blow this up real quick. And let me zoom in. And I'm gonna get into a couple of pieces of information outside of a book. Let me remove this book to the left, if I can do it. Shit. All right. So, real quick, the Olmec world consisted of three environments: a physical realm of plants, animals, land, and water; a human environment of villages and towns scattered across Olmen and the rest of Mesoamerica; and the spiritual world that controlled the other two. The spiritual world, shadowy and unreal, is as seems to us, was a real as maize, seas, jaguars, and human enemies were for the Olmecs. Here we'll examine the physical settings of the Olmec culture, leaving the human and supernatural environments for the subsequent chapters. Fray Bernardino de Sahagan, the great Spanish chronicler of the 16th century Mexico, queried his Aztec informants about the lands and the peoples of southern Veracruz and Tabasco. They responded that it was called Olman, the rubber country, or the Talakan, place of wealth, and that these Olmec Hexatans, the inhabitants, were rich. Their home, their land was really a land of riches and a land of flowers and a land of wealth and a land of abundance. The more nautical-minded Spaniards Christian in the Sotavento, a term still heard today in the region. The actual area included the Aztec Olmen is unclear, but probably encompassed 10,000 square kilometers, including Popolipan, the Coatzacoalcos, Tonola River basins, as well as the volcanic Tuxtlar Mountains and the loom over the light of the gigantic Mesoamerican Tempe base, surrounded by the lowland rivers, etc. Why the hell am I reading that? I know what you're thinking. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Although the Olmec sculptures employed bauxite originated in the mountains, their raw materials may be in boulders that wash down to the Piedmont below the volcanoes. I'm gonna get directly to the point. I don't even want to bore y'all because he take out on a path. Y'all can still see the screen and that's cool. But I need to pull up this other source real quick. Okay, boom, there you go. All right, I need to stop sharing my screen so I can get. Hold on, can y'all still see me? Nope, y'all can't even see my screen. Oh, the browser messed up. Hold on. Oops. Window. Boom. So y'all remember when we was having this whole conversation about the Olmec culture and dealing with monkeys and shit like that. So I want to talk about the god sea real quick. So there's a German scholar by the name of Paul Schalus, designated deities in the post-classic Maya manuscripts by letters of the alphabet. His third was C, was the god. Y'all see this right here? Watch this. The god that ornamented face, and he suggests this personified a heavenly body. It was probably the pole star. Although this glyph, can y'all see? Nah, y'all still can't see it. Hold up. The browser can't access the screen. Why I can't access my screen, bro? Y'all see my entire screen? Let me see. Let's see if y'all can see that. The browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if this continues. StreamYard is going apeshit. All right, so since my StreamYard tripping, I'm gonna make this quick thing. Cause you tripping, bro. Let me read this to y'all real quick. I'm gonna see if it'll do it again. Nope. All right. Yeah, it's tripping. So I'm gonna read it to y'all, man, and I'll tell y'all the source. So back to what I was talking about the god sea. So although this glyph frequently represents all four corner points, so is the sky ruler and determines position at the center. Thus, the entire constellation of the Little Bear. Edward Siller, a scorned scholar, gave the idea that the Maya glyph for the north in the Matrix Codex depicted a monkey. One more time. In the Mayan Madrid Codex, it depicted a monkey. Now, Carl Tabb and Milbart have also rejected identification of God sea as the North Star. You had one person, and basically what I'm saying is Schiller said that this person represented the North Star. Then three people behind, and Schiller says they rejected the idea of the North Star and said that God sea is a representation of a monkey. It says a complex representation of the North in the four directions found on the page 10 of the Major Codex explains why God sea has been identified with the North in all four directions. Each direction has an associated God sea glyph with its color and the picture of the God sea seated below. This counterclockwise sequence beginning in the east names and personifies every direction of God sea, although it is only his glyph that is the proper name of the north with the sack of white prefix. The sequence east, north, up, west, south, down is counterclockwise circuit of the dippers. In recent years, many scholars have been interested in reading God sea glyph. William Ringel considered the significance and the reading of God sea glyph rather than its directional significance. Following the clue of Landis, Ringel, and others, the meaning God thus signifies godliness in general rather than representing any specific God. And when preceded by the common water group prefix, it was read Kul Chul, indicating sacred or divine. Ringel describes the glyph as representing the spider monkey. Most recent work has not addressed the monkey question, but Coggins discussed classic period. Portrayal of God sees head, a monkey's, on the ruler's loincloth and concluded that it symbolized royal lineage and sexual potency. With the water group prefixes, Carlson interpreted the liquid as signifying divine essence, whereas Stewart interprets the fluid as blood and Coggins as semen. All three conceptually equivalent interpretations associate the God sea monkey with the dynastic ritual and royal communication with the divine. No one has wondered why God sea was a monkey or why God sea was associated with the North. In fact, the North Celestial Pole was fundamental religious concept at the large regional centers of southern pre-classic Mesoamerica, where it came to personify the divinity and mortality of the nascent state and personified by its ruler and the people's earliest known association with a monkey. For the classic Maya, the North Celestial Pole embodied the following pre-classic origins. The night, a monkey, mirrors, world trees, a large bird, in fact. The God sea monkey glyph was the animated form of the mirror glyph as seen in the foliated cross panel of the Palik. This cluster of the concepts had little, if anything, to do with the Sun, Moon, Venus, and the other planets, the Pleiades, and the Milky Way. Unlike these, the North celestial pole and its constellations were entirely predictable, thus unchanging or internal, like the founding ancestors' creation. When they go through their whole little thing about the Olmec heads, one of the reasons that I brought that up is because of the god seat and its reference. Unfortunately, y'all couldn't see what I had on the screen because this motherfucker don't want to work. And I'm trying to. Yeah, it's not capturing. So something is preventing it. I don't know if it's whatever the case may be, but I shared this before. It's in the same book, the cosmology book. But the whole presence of that being in reference to, hold on, let me see if something else back counter back. All right. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Now, anyway, I can get on to my point. My point is this, is when they talk about the Olmec heads, they don't know what it represents. They don't know what it represents. They claim that the Olmec heads had braids. How the fuck does a sculpture have braids? There's symbolizations of things. This is why we know that there was knotted with feathers inside of that. And it was a headgear. This is how we know that. And we know what they were. They were made out of thrones, so they were clear representations of people not only playing games, but people who had significance in and around the Olmec culture. Me saying that and talking about Alvin Van Sertimas earlier in the errors in his book and the source, non-source reference and Leo Weiner brings us to the point of the Aboriginal and Black myth that we've been here before Columbus. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence substantiated. I would love to read to y'all an entire chapter by Leo Weiner about his dumb statements regarding Africans' influence on the Americas and how all of this that he claims is tied back to Africa. He's not actually arguing Melgar. He's talking gods, the concept of God, and all of that in his book. He putting West Africans of many different tribes in the Americas before the arrival of Columbus. And the ones more specifically are bringing as an Islamic presence or interpretation to them. I don't even know if Leo Weiner ever entered West Africa at all. We don't even have evidence of that. But we damn sure have him fucking shit up. Excuse my language. Let me see if y'all see this. Y'all just coming up in this thing right now. Let me see if my screen share, bro. Like, this is crazy. I can't share my screen, bro. I can only share what I get out. So I can't share none of my books. So all I can share is this. Hold on. Because I can just pull the book off right here. Let me see if this will show. Yep, that's gonna show. So everything gotta be on. I'm gonna have to update StreamYard. And then we got the Crybaby in the chat. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to Crybaby. Welcome to Crybaby, man. You said, where is wrench? I would never in my life give you a wrench. So let me bring this up real quick. So y'all know we went to one source about this guanin. So we're gonna come back to a different version of Wiener's book, and we're gonna try to get back to this guanin real quick. I'm on too blurry. Let me bag back. All right. Okay, so we should be able to see this a little bit. Let me get the page back up. Did I lose it? Hell yeah, I lost it. I tell your boy, man, anytime he want to smoke, he can get it, bro. I know you're gonna be over there with him. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell him anytime. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Anytime. V note the slow. That boy V note the slow. You rode a short bus in school, bro. We not listening to you, bro. You rode a slow bus. Hold on, I'm trying to get my chapter back. V note, it ain't even worth talking to you, bro. You slow. '94. Page 94. Pages 93. 4. No, I wasn't on page 94. Oh no, y'all. I can't get my page back. Where the elbows at, bro? I'm almost ready for the elbows. What you say? Yeah, no, Vino, you can't get a wrench. Uh-huh. All right, y'all talking to them. Nah, ain't no way. It's not on page 94. Boom. 117. I went too far back. All right, so now we can get to it. I went too far back. All right, so in this chapter, the smoke vendor, page 117, in Leo Wiener's work, this is what he says right here, and we got to go back to get context. So there's two problems here. I'm going back to Van Sertima's page 13, 14, and 15. While I'm labeling these pages, because some of this is in these pages, more importantly, 13 rolling into 14, but I need y'all to hear this from Leo Wiener. We're going to start right here. The same Portuguese dictionary quotes from a letter of De Vera to affect the Mahina in Brazil, but I really want to start right here. But I don't, because it gets off my point, and I want to get directly to my point without boring y'all. Okay, so the African blah, 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 blah. All right, so when Columbus started out in 1498 on his third journey, he wished to go south because he intended, with the aid of the Holy Trinity, to find the islands and lands that the gods may be served as the highnesses of Christianity may have pleasure, and that he wishes to prove or test the opinion of King Don Juan of Portugal. Y'all remember we talked about this, who said that there was a continental land of the south, and because of this, he says they had a contention with the sovereigns of the Castile, and finally the admiral says that it was concluded that the King of Portugal should have 370 leagues to the west of the island of Azores and Cape Verde, from the north into the pole. His admiral says further that the King Don Juan was certain that within those limits, famous lands, things must be found. So y'all remember the whole thing about the Don Juan situation, yada, yada, yada. So here's the assertion, because this comes up in Van Sertima's book regarding Guinea. Again, it says King Don Juan was greatly inclined to send to make discoveries to the southwest, and that the canoes had been found which start from the coast of Guinea and navigate to the west with merchandise. He ordered that the course lay to the southwest, yada, 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 leading to the Holy Trinity, because this would be on parallel with the lands of Sierra Leone. Y'all remember that Sertima has that in his book about Sierra Leone, and he has that on page 15 of his book. This is why I said that. But ladies and gentlemen, the quote 45 in this chapter, right? Quote 45 in this chapter, he has coming from a whole nother source. He don't have it coming from Leo Wiener, but Leo Wiener got it right here as well, right? He says the same little path, yada, 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 yada. Look, he said right here. The King Juan aforesaid, and that he thought to investigate the reports of the Indians of Hispaniola, who said that there had come to Hispaniola from the south and southeast a black people who have the tops of their spears made of a metal that they call guanin, or which they had sent samples of the sovereigns to have them assayed, when it was found that of 32 parts, 18 were gold, 6 silver, 8 copper. So when we go back to page 15, 15 doesn't say that all the way, but parts of that end up in Leo Wiener, but he don't give us the page number, and he got the wrong book, because he says this is what I mean by the errors, right? And this could be a common error, so I don't want to piss on him all the way, but he put it in Leo Wiener Discovery Volume 1. This is Leo Wiener's Discovery Volume 2, and this is page 118 of Volume 2 that have that last line in it, but that ain't the entirety of it, because this is sourcing something else. Then he goes on to say, but there can be no question whatsoever the reality of the regard of the presence of Africa Palmeros previous to Columbus, because of the Guani is a Mandingo word, and that the very allure of the African origin. In 1501, a law was passed forbidding a person to sell guanin to Indians of Hispaniola. So it goes on to give us the source information right here for that quote. Then he says, but in 1503, guanins were still imported secretly. In the same year, 29 pieces of guanin were to be returned from Spain to Hispaniola because there were a base alloy that had more value than in Spain. When we turn to Africa, we learned that the natives were given the adulteration of gold and precisely the manner objected to. Bosman wrote, the gold which is brought us by the Dinkerians is very pure, except only that this too much mixed with a fetish, which are sort of artificial gold composed of several ingredients, amongst which some of them are very oddly shaped. These fetish they cast in the molds to support black and very heavy earth. Into the form of these, yada, yada, yada. Artificial gold is frequently mixed with a third part of something, sometimes with half silver and copper, and consequently less worth. And yet we are pestered with it on all the parts of the coast. And if we refuse to receive it, some Negroes are so unreasonable that they will undeniably take back all their pure gold, so that we are obliged sometimes to suffer them to shuffle in yada, yada, yada. So let me pause real quick. So in part 2 of the book, we get this assertion back to Guanin. We also get the story of King Don Juan. These things are mentioned in Van Sertima's book, but Van Sertima doesn't provide that he's reading from this version of Leo Wiener's work. He only asserts and uses quotes, but then he gives credence to other people. My point to you is this: the claims in which Van Sertima makes and the argument in which Van Sertima makes goes back to Leo Wiener. Now, Leo Wiener and Van Sertima uses J.B. Thatcher. Both use J.B. Thatcher regarding Columbus' work. You heard him in his own presentation refer to Thatcher. He has Thatcher in his bitch like how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Out of 49 sources, Thatcher is referred to in chapter 1 42 times. Not only does he use Leo Wiener in every chapter, he uses Thatcher. So a lot of this comes from the bogus. Now, as you can see right here, Leo Wiener in volume 2 is referring to volume 1, page 32, regarding something up here. So now we go back to volume 1. We go back to volume 1, and let's see what Leo Wiener say on page 32. And then we can say that Van Sertima forgot to put page 32 in his source of Leo Wiener. I guess. I don't know. Shit, it's all bullshit. I don't know what y'all talking about in the chat. All right, so here go page 32 of volume 1. It mentioned a whole lot of tribes in West Africa right here at the beginning, and then bring in some Arab bullshit. And he's still talking languages, but I don't see nothing about no gold tips. Hold on, you just said in your own volume, bruh. Footnote number 2. Okay. There can be no question whatsoever as the reality of a statement in regard to the presence in America of African Pomberos previous to Columbus, because of the Guani is a Mandingo word. But in this, there you go, Guani, just as V. So this right here is Van Sertima's linguistic teacher. This is what I mean by he didn't do the work. Because it's not on page 32, even though it begins on 32, but it continues on 33, and then it goes into this whole next paragraph. In the journal, on the January 13th, gold is given as Kanoa, while Guanin is an island where there is much gold. Lacasas wrote that in the margin, this Guanin was not an island, as I think, but that it's the base gold, which according to the Indians of Hispaniola had an odor for which they valued it much, and this they called guanin. But what they say it smelled like shit. There you go. Similarly, the Italian account of the first voyages reads, there were here pieces of guanin as large as the halves of the caravel's poop. This is in Van Sertima's book. That line right there on chapter 1, page 14 at the end paragraph. That whole little notion right there. So Van Sertima followers, let the people who've been fixing his book and putting sources in his book know that on footnote 37, as he refers to Leo Weiner, he need to put page 34. Is it 33. So there go the problem with that. So now we find where he gets the direct quote for that line right there, and then some of the shit that he imposes right here, it ain't just coming from this line. But the linguistic work that he mentions on page 13 too, because he says the origin of the word guanin may be tracked down in the Mandi languages of West Africa. If you read this and you're not me, if you're reading this in its entirety, you would think that Van Sertima is mentioning the origins of the word being tracked down according to his knowledge. No, this is his knowledge of the word being tracked down right here, ladies and gentlemen. It is all put on us by Leo Weiner. Now you got to go behind Leo Weiner and try to figure all of this shit out. Is he right or is he wrong? You have to go and do that and see if this even should be a part of this conversation. Now you got the assertion of guanin claim, like Haskell says. He doesn't say, but I'm saying that Haskell says that guanin came from West Africa. How did it get to the Americas? Who brought it here? Oh, here's the other part right here. Rakota. Van Sertima, you sneaky son of a bee. So you was just using Leo Weiner more than you put on. You got Rakota way over. I was sitting here looking for this. And it fall right in, man. You a cold mofo, my bro. You a cold mofo. What I'm talking about to myself, y'all, is footnote number 2. If you go back and you read footnote number 2, there were here pieces of guanin as large as the caravel's poop. That line is from Leo Weiner, but it comes from Ricolta specifically. Part 1 of Ricolta's Volume 1 works on page 96. Van Sertima doesn't recall that. I mean, he doesn't put that on Ricolta. In his book, in his book, he says similarly in Ricolta, the Italian account of the voyage, one reads, and then he uses that quote. But bro, you ain't even using Ricolta though. You quoted this as using Leo Weiner, which Leo Weiner is using Ricolta. So I can understand. So it's we going through 2 minutes, so we don't have a primary. Y'all still arguing about Phyllis Wheatley? The answer to your question directly, Pure Black, is no. There's no evidence. You're looking on the screen, bro. This is Leo Weiner's work right here. This is Leo Weiner's work right here. There's no evidence to show people left West Africa and was here before Columbus or before Christ, as Van Sertima claimed. Van Sertima's claim is that black people that was in the Americas was here before Christ are from Africa. All of those black people that populated the Americas, so all the Aboriginal community that said that they was here before Columbus is from Africa. That's what Van Sertima said. He said there were Africans here before Columbus. All of the Africans that were here, there were Africans in the Americas before Christ. That's what he said. So whoever put these sources in Van Sertima's book actually didn't do it because he didn't have sources in his original copy. They actually messed this up earlier on. Now some of them they fix them on the end, and you can see when they refer to them because they can find the source. But a lot of what's being argued that they came before Columbus has everything to do with Leo Weiner's Volume 1 works and a few other sources. John Brown Westworm original work is my source. 18 of the West African tribes left America with the American Colonization Society. What the fuck are you talking about? Bro, you just came in here late. You don't even know what's going on, man. Listen, let me show you how you don't know what's going on, bro. You don't know what's going on because you slow. This dude just come in the chat and he just be uttering stuff, right? He don't even know what we talking about. That'd be part of your problem, bro. Right here.
You have to get to America unless the fish get you first. Of the ocean shows that just off the Cape Verde there is a current that takes you. Found a cotton in the Cape Verde Islands, a cotton from Spain, and they were assayed, they were examined by the Spanish metallurgists, and they ruled that these spears had the same ratio of gold, silver, and copper alloys as spears then being forged in African Guinea. Furthermore, the Portuguese told Columbus when he returned from his first voyage, the Portuguese told Columbus that they were aware of Africans leaving from the Cape Verde Islands and going far to the west with merchandise in large boats. There are two things to bear in mind here. First of all, the Portuguese were aware of African navigation because the Portuguese had been in Africa since around 1450. They in fact had clashed with the Gambian Navy. The Portuguese also were aware of a landmass to the south as a result of African movements which will come up later in my talk. And furthermore, Columbus had married a Portuguese woman. He had been to Africa in 1484 at the Portuguese fort at San Jorge de Minas. His brother Bartholomew had married a Portuguese. They were both aware of the Portuguese court, and in fact, they had been trying to get the Portuguese to finance their journey across the Western Ocean before he went to the Spanish courts. Not only do we have, therefore, the documents of the Portuguese and that of Columbus himself, and oral tradition of the Native Americans, and the fact that the Spanish metallurgists had ruled on this and shown that it was African, but furthermore, they have found a cotton in the Cape Verde Islands, a cotton, Gossypium hirsutum var punstatum, which they thought was African because it was just off Africa and it had been taken by the Portuguese as they settled in the Cape Verde and planted before Columbus in the Cape Verde Islands. When it was examined, the cytogenics of the cotton showed that it was not African, it was some cotton grown in the Caribbean and South America, which means cotton which had been grown in the Caribbean and South America had got into Africa before Columbus. How? Not only that, botanical evidence, but the navigational evidence shows, the oceanographic survey of the ocean shows that just off the Cape Verde there is a current that takes you to South America. There are 3 major currents off Africa, about 100 miles off the African coast, that take you automatically to America. Once you are caught in those currents, whether you planned it or not, you have to get to America unless the fish get you first. Anything that remains afloat is pushed towards America. Off the Cape Verde Islands, the current takes you in onto the northern tip of South America, into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. If you're off the Senegambia, it takes you to South America, into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. If you're off the southern coast of Africa, it takes you towards South America, and you could fall into the currents that take you into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. The evidence shows that, and I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. Aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. Before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish that. And I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment. The evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. The reason why history has to be reconstructed in the Americas and in Africa in the way it is done now is because we cannot use the same historical methods that are used in Europe.
So, yeah, he said before Christ. Okay, they just sent me a message. Your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Yada, 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 yada. Restart your browser if this problem continues. I ain't about to restart my browser. You know what? Hold on 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. 1 moment.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find your
own genealogy?
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
Feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot, nigga get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught that apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK. TKO. Now he's a con. OTK. You died. TKO. Genealogy.
You died by your own genealogy. But anyway, man, as I was saying, the man said that there was black people, African people in the Americas before Christ, and they have the damn evidence. That is an astronomical claim, and it requires astronomical evidence. This is one of the mere reasons why we cannot take the work seriously and need to retire it, because based on the information argued, the Leo Weiners, the Von, whatever their names is, and the MDW Jeffries, do y'all not recall what we talked about when it came to MDW Jeffries? Do y'all not remember buddy name? Huh? Y'all remember MDW Jeffries? Y'all don't remember the work. He ain't even had no page, bro. The self-proclaimed anthropologist, bro. And then Van Gogh, he got a little wiki, and he was an autodidact. They made astronomical claims, bro, with no evidence. And even then, you know, because one of the things is that there's the old Calabar story, like the notes on the BBO language, etc. MDW Jeffries shows up in plenty of texts referring to West Africans during the time of colonization, but more importantly, where they was running around and doing all kinds of ish. So there's problems with some of the things that he asserted. I'm not saying all things, some things, because there's things that Van Sertimas uses in here that are true to some standard as it pertains to some of the accounts. But as far as presenting a people here before that is crap. Falsifying Sertima's info is in bounds. Making him synonymous with the likes of Dan Calloway and Ali Muhammad is nasty, though. How do I want to respond to that without offending you? Okay, so Van Sertima would be an Ali Muhammad and a Dan Calloway with the belief that of his time, with the belief that there were Africans in the Americas before Christ, and claiming to have evidence for it that did not exist. That would put him in the lights. Listen, all Dan Calloway and Ali Muhammad do is take historical information and cast doubt on the historical information. One of the arguments that Van Sertima just made himself was that we needed to come up with a different type of a methodology versus the methodology that Europeans use. Hence, the attempt to project a use of a name that hadn't been presented yet, but what some people will call Afrocentricity. Vino, what are you talking about? Take what seriously? 1498 greater than or less than 1492? What comes before, 2 or 8? Does the 8 come before the 2 or the 2 before the 8? Vino, Shah Sun is talking to you. Vino, yeah, you should have. But let me hold up. Let me just get back into it a little bit. I'm gonna let him go a little bit longer. Because apparently this is why the video is titled the way that it's titled, because it puts the Aboriginal community, it puts them in compromise with the claims that are made by and presented by Van Sertima's book and his, you know, it mess them up. The truth is the truth, bro. If they claiming to be here before all of that, then they are claiming to be the Africans, the first of the Africans to reach the Americas. They wouldn't be indigenous. If they're claiming to be indigenous, then they're saying that these black people got here 20,000 years ago, 16 to 20,000 years ago, 25 to 32. It don't even matter. Whatever the case may be, Van Sertima's argument is that black people were here before Christ, or the Africans are from Africa. Can't none of y'all get around this.
Europe has had the enormous advantage and established this beyond the shadow of a doubt. That, and I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. The reason why history has to be reconstructed in the Americas and in Africa in the way it is done now is because
this is the reason why our older people that we talk to, that we be having these conversations with, this is why they be on that whole, you know what I mean, abo shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like they hang their hat on, we've been here before Columbus type shit. Right here. Because of this statement by Van Sertima, and they hung on to every word.
Before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated and Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico. The evidence shows that, and I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. The reason why history has to be reconstructed in the Americas and in Africa in the way it is done now is because we cannot use the same historical methods that are used in Europe. Europe has had the enormous advantage of the conquest in that its libraries have remained fairly intact for many centuries. Our libraries have been shattered, and it's not a question of the lack of libraries. In the Americas alone, there were thousands of books Only 3 major American books survive, and they're not even in America. They're in Germany, they're in Spain. 3 books survive. One of them is the Popol Vuh, the Bible of the Quiche Maya. You have the Titulo Koyoi, which Jairus Boy mentions. You have other codices. These things are the few things that survive. The destruction of libraries in Egypt, the sack of Alexandria, which destroys, as I pointed out this morning, perhaps 500,000 documents. The destruction of the Moorish documents in which blacks were involved, not just blacks. You have Arabs of different complexions and races, perhaps, but you have an Arab-African thing in the Moorish domination of Europe. You have Cardinal Ximenes destroying about 84,000 manuscripts in Arabic at a time when many Africans and Arabs and even others wrote in Arabic as the language of science.
Now, y'all see where the elbow talking points come in, where they're talking about destroyed libraries, destroyed manuscripts. They burnt down this. They done burnt down that. Van Sertima is the indicative cult leader of that whole movement type shit. Y'all say I'm attacking him, and I don't care. I don't care. But when you get it wrong, you get it wrong. And this dude is supposed to be a doctor. He ain't even got all the evidence, and he's making claims that Africans was in the Americas before Christ. And then said he has the radiocarbon dated evidence. Ain't no damn radiocarbon evidence, dated evidence gonna prove that bullshit. They ain't got no African bones that they can date that would be before Christ in the Americas, before Columbus in the Americas. I'm just shortening the gaps. Astronomical claims. Ain't got a single piece of evidence to support it. And I got that boy in the chat in his feelings. Yes, exactly. According to the genetic evidence, the new data, the new scientific data that we have, this is what would happen. He would change his stance. He would himself destroy. They came before Columbus. He would redact his own work because he based this entire book on false information. If he had integrity, he would definitely do that. See, this show how slow you are. I didn't say that you can't carbon date bones. You don't have the evidence. The oldest evidence for bones in the Americas ain't us. He said that he got, thank you for correcting yourself, because you can't. But I'm saying what he said. I ain't made the claim. I didn't make the claim, but you can date. But you can date findings. You can't say that you can't date findings, bro. They'll give you a guesstimation of how old some goddamn people are, depending on how far in the sedimentary dirt that they're buried, bro. If they so low, if they're buried so low, the radiocarbon date of the evidence will take it back and say this gives us a projection. You said that he didn't say anything about bones? What the fuck is he saying?
Of libraries in the Americas alone,
What?
takes you to South America. Evidence, but the navigational evidence shows found a cotton in the Cape Verde Island before Columbus' house. Not only that, botanical evidence, but the navigational evidence shows into the Caribbean, into the Gulf. Advantage of the conquest in that its libraries have remained fairly intact from establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt. Of Africa, it takes you towards South America, and you could fall into the currents that take you into the Caribbean, into the Gulf of Mexico. The evidence shows that, and I will leave the Columbus period aside for a moment, the evidence shows that there were Africans American not only before Columbus, but before Christ. And it has been carbon dated, and we can establish this beyond the shadow of a doubt.
What the hell does he mean it has been carbon dated? What does carbon date mean? He said that there were people, African people, in the Americas before Christ, and it has been carbon dated. You just said in the chat, Waterford General, you said that he didn't say anything about Bronze Brother. What's being carbon dated? What would you consider? What piece of evidence could you carbon date? What's being carbon dated that's going to put Africans in the Americas before Christ? You got to find some type of physical evidence that anthropologists can use to date. You need an anthropologist to substantiate what evidence is being used to carbon date an African presence before Christ in the Americas. Then, if you can extract DNA from the bones of people, then you got even bigger evidence. He ain't got none of that. He ain't got no bones. He ain't got no archaeological site. He ain't got no spear tips. He ain't got shit. He ain't got nothing. What evidence? What is the evidence that you're using that is carbon dated to prove that Africans was in the Americas before Christ? Why y'all can't understand that that is false? It's made up. It's a belief. That belief is based on bad information that he obtained from Thatcher, from Leo Weiner, from Vassanet, if I'm saying his name right, from Jeffries, and a few other people, based on his assumption of how he's trying to interpret the data. He looks at the heads of the Olmec and insinuates that an African presence. It's not based on the reality. Y'all let Vino live, man. He know he just talking in the chat, bro. He ain't got no information.
First, the meat roasted and putrefied, and that he feared for the life of his men and himself if rain had not fallen. All these things are recorded in the document. They're just the sides. They're just the sides, things dismissed, pushed aside, until we put together the botanical evidence, Gossypium, Hirsutum var Punchtatum, the metallurgical evidence that the Spanish metallurgists had assayed the metal spears and showed them to be African, the navigational evidence, because the currents move in that direction, and the Portuguese had noted the Africans had the navigational capacity and were actually setting out from the Cape Verde. The documented evidence, both of Columbus himself and of the Portuguese, the oral tradition.
This is what I'm talking about when he started touting his chest. He started saying that he got this evidence, that evidence, this evidence, that evidence. He ain't got none of that. He ain't got none of that. Zero. But he's just pumping his chest. Brother, in order for us to get it right, we got to stand on your shoulders and correct your errors. We know where you made mistakes. I know I've probably made mistakes that in the future someone should come behind me and tighten up my errors so that we can get it right. If this is about our truth, if this is about our existence, if this is about our presence in world history, we ain't even gotta make shit up and fight white people on certain shit or Native American people on certain shit. Because guess what? The people that inhabited the Americas, no offense, 90% of them lost. The other 1 to 10% survived. Hold on, y'all. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Let's get back to Event City.
Of the Native Americans, all of these things are there. Until we pull them together, they make no sense because they're constantly being thrust aside because they suggest Africans are where they should not be. Let me deal not with that early period because I merely pointed out as an example of the method that is used to reconstruct history and that it is a valid and legitimate method and the only method that is available to us now because of the great destruction of documents. It was in 1858 that peasants in the village of Tres Zapotes in the Gulf of Mexico discovered an enormous stone head. This stone head weighed 10 tons, just a head, 10 tons. It was made of basalt stone, and it had vividly Africoid features, as Dr. Matthew Sterling was later to comment on it nearly a century later, that it was vividly African, vividly Negroid was his term. It had broad nose, very full lips. It was clearly one of the classical African types. It had a helmet, which had never been seen on any sculpture found that so far in the Americas. Close by it was found a stele, which indicated a date of about 291, November the 4th, 291 BC, 291 years before Christ. They were not sure, however, if that date necessarily related to the head. And at that point in time, no archaeology, no serious archaeology had been done in America. However, in 1938, a scientific expedition set out from the Smithsonian Institute, University of California, and the National Geographic, and they found that head again. They not only found that head, but the following year they proceeded to another spot, La Venta, where someone noted they had seen a similar head, and they dug up 4 heads at La Venta. Between 1939 and 1940, 4 heads were dug up at La Venta, and again it was the same thing, enormous heads, 6 to 9 feet high, just a head, weighing between 10 to 40 tons in weight, having African-type features, and the same type.
What are African type features? What are African type features. This is what it goes back to that point that I was making the other day. What are African type features? He's asserting all of these things based on lookership. Africans are diverse. That's why you can't put all people in one category. Diverse. Africa is the most diverse on the planet. So features, there's not one type of African look. Which African does the Olmec heads look like? Which? The Yoruba, the Gambian, the Wolof, the Siri, the Igbo, the Fulani, the Hausa, the no. I was being funny there. The Bibio, the Mandinka, the Zulu. Which? Is it the Berbers in Libya? Who? Which? You said African features. So which? You already lost. Talking about your theory of Polynesia. You better do your homework. That's already been done. That work that you're trying to argue, there's already research on the subject matter already. So, and even up-to-date information. So again, what I want to know is which group of African people do the Olmec heads look like? Because it's a clear indication that these heads are looking like representatives of the Olmecian people. You don't know why the fuck is you guessing? You don't know. You said you've been here. Van Sertimas telling you that all these people is African.
The helmet, as Jairus Boy has pointed out, you could find it at Tanis in the Egyptian Delta.
Look, listen to this real quick. Listen to what he say. This is how people be fucking up people's claims. Listen to what he say right here.
Just ahead, weighing between 10 to 40 tons in weight, having African-type features, and the same type of helmet, as Jairus Boy has pointed out, you could find.
He tell y'all right here in his own assertion that the Olmec heads are wearing helmets. He's telling y'all, and y'all never argued this shit a day in y'all lives, and he's saying that the Olmec heads are wearing helmets. What are they wearing helmets like? Let's start all the way over and let him rock out for the 3 minutes.
Again, it was the same thing. Enormous heads, 6 to 9 feet high, just ahead, weighing between 10 to 40 tons in weight, having African-type features, and the same type of helmet, as Jairus Boy has pointed out, you could find it at Tanis in the Egyptian Delta, with a flap falling along the side of the head. A kind of crest with a flap and incised markings, etc. And the extraordinary thing is that I discovered last year through a friend of mine, he's Wayne Chandler, he's an photojournalist. He discovered in the files of the Smithsonian a photograph. Boy has pointed out, you could find it at Tanis in the Egyptian Delta, with a flap falling along the side of the head, a kind of crest with a flap and incised markings, etc. And the extraordinary thing is that I discovered last year through a friend of mine, he's Wayne Chandler, he's an photojournalist. He discovered in the files of the Smithsonian a photograph that has been suppressed for nearly 50 years, which is shown here for the first time in public in my slides, which shows that the first head that was discovered not only had African features, but Ethiopian braids.
African features with Ethiopian braids. Listen to him. Listen to him. African features, Ethiopian braids. We ain't gotta make nothing up. Just let him tell on himself. At a cap. He just told y'all that the Olmec heads are wearing a helmet with these flaps that come down the sides of the face, similar to the ones in Egypt. Then he turns around and says, they got one wearing braids from Ethiopia. So African features with Ethiopian braids on another one. He just didn't realize that he just said a cap just a second ago. So they're wearing a helmet and they have 7 braids, not braids. Ethiopians don't have a hairstyle where it's just 7 braids coming out of a helmet.
For the first time in public in my slides, which shows that the first head that was discovered not only had African features, but Ethiopian braids. It's carved out in the stone. It has never been published, it has never been shown.
He claimed if this image had never been published and had never been shown, this image had never been published and had never been shown. If you go look at the date of this actual lecture, when it was originally done, this photo that he gets was never suppressed. It was right where we showed y'all the other day when Melvin was up here. They had already cataloged it and already had it shown. The people in the audience ain't seen the shit. But that was a hell of a claim. He made like 4 or 5 claims.
On top of the heads, the stone heads, they found terracottas, that is clay sculptures of Africa. Now, with respect to those with the helmets.
So he didn't got away from the heads. Now he's talking about terracottas. And now he's trying to say these terracottas show clear Africa. Y'all don't hear him. And y'all wonder why we rejecting this shit?
On top of the heads, the stone heads, they found terracottas, that is clay sculptures of Africa. Now, with respect to those with the helmets, with the exception of the one I mentioned, you could say, okay, fine, perhaps it's a mistake, perhaps it's an accident. That's what they said. First, they said they were baby faces. That's why they had full nose and full mouth. They were faces of babies. Then,
let me show y'all Ivan Van Sertima. Does he look like them Olmec heads? Does his eyes? Does his lips? Does his cheeks? Does it look like the Olmec heads? Watch.
And they said the reason why they have these enormous lips is because they're the snarling mouths of jaguars. These people among whom they were found Olmec. they worship jaguars.
Listen, he don't even look like the Olmec heads. He don't look like the Olmec heads.
That's what they said. First, they said they were baby faces. That's why they had full nose and full mouth. They were faces of babies. Then they said the reason why they have these enormous lips is because they're the snarling mouths of jaguars. These people among whom they were found, Olmec, they worship jaguars, and therefore the snarling mouth of the jaguar was copied. Then they said, one of them said it was made of molten rock, and it fell on its face, and that's why it became flat and full. The latest explanation is most ingenious. The Science Digest did an article on me in September 1981, in which they presented my case very fairly and objectively, showing the nature of the objections of the establishment, including one eminent historian of Mexico, Michael Coe. And they went to Michael Coe, Boyce Rensberger, the leading science writer for the Times, who did the story on me. He went to Michael Coe and he said, "Do you believe what Van Sertimas is saying, that these are African?" And Michael Coe said, "They don't look at all African, and even if they do," he says his words, even if they do, the reason why they have full noses, the reason why they have broad noses and full lips is because the tools were blunt and they couldn't make them any sharper.
Now, I just want to make a point here. Van Sertima ain't even got full lips or a broad nose. He don't even look like an Olmec. He don't. But this is his baby. And he is arguing against the field. And what comes behind that are people willing to not let it go because he was standing up against other people and was fighting for the existence of a presence that didn't exist. That's why people can't let this go. He said Michael Coe, but I can show you in all the archaeological works that we dealt with before, Michael Coe is prominent. And he didn't even argue back with Michael Coe. I mean, scholastically. He had no response for Coe. And Coe is in the region. Watch this. I ain't gonna take it off the video because I don't want to have to unshare, reshare. But I'm reading this article. It says, watch this. From the center of the conventionalized mouth projects a curling forked tongue and three-point figure with the tipping at each point terminating a dot. From each side of the mouth, there depends half of a broad bifurcated tongue. They're talking about the sculpture that's made out of bauxite. So they're giving this, and the reason that I'm reading this about one particular monument C, monument B and C, is because it talks about broad mouths. Broad mouths and parts of the face that look a certain way. Each of these elaborate headdresses, listen to this, outside of each serpent head is an inverted human figure. These two figures face toward each other. Each wears an elaborate headdress. The first figure has on a helmet in the form of an animal head, from which projects a curious spade-shaped ornament. His left arm is flexed across his breast, holding in place a straight rod. All of this is in the description. This is stone monuments of southern Mexico. My point is, people didn't even realize that they were given anthropomorphic. They were doing the same. Okay, hold on. So for 1 minute, you want to argue about Egypt so goddamn much. It says everybody is copying Egypt. At the same time, these people independently grew their culture, and they're doing the same thing that other motherfuckers doing, just showing you how human beings think when they can't explain something. So they depicted these deities and these entities and all of these things in their culture as anthropomorphic. These figures, these headstones, all are representations of rulers, but also have some anthropomorphic meaning behind them as well. One of the examples of that is the howling monkey, and we come back to Monument F. That motherfuckers want to call what they want to call them, y'all. I don't even want to say the name. But go ahead. Go ahead, dear brother, the late great.
That's the leading authority on the Americas, prehistoric Americas. Well, let me present the case for the dating. On the wooden ceremonial platform where 4 of these stone heads were found at the Venta, which turned out to be the holy capital of the Olmec world, Olmec, Olmec, the first major civilization in America. The dating of the wooden platform, the charcoal, there were 9 samples of charcoal dating, gave a reading of 948 to 680 BC. It's not just the stone head, but in addition to the stone heads, you have terracottas that are clay sculptures of African types.
His whole argument is using Mesoamerican art and saying that it is a clear representation of black people, and it's black people or Africans, and it's African Americans in this lecture that look nothing like the goddamn terracottas or the Olmec heads. But because Van Sertima is in a scholastic fight with Mesoamerican anthropologists and others, he is to be considered onto something because of the skepticism, but there is no admission by Van Sertima of a lack of evidence that he does not have. He doesn't have the genetic evidence. You can't get genetic evidence off of sculpture. He ain't got he has none of that. He ain't got the language right. He can't find no archaeology directly from West Africa in the Americas. You can't find Islam in the Americas pre-Columbus. You can't find none of this shit that you're uttering. You don't have nothing that's radiocarbon dated back 2,000 years before Christ. You ain't got none of that. But you're telling people this in the 80s in a lecture. No. Listen, with all due respect, Waterford General, before I kick your ass out of my chat, with all due respect, he is not talking about radiocarbon dating fucking wood when he referred to Africans being in America before Christ. He didn't say shit about wood. That was 10 minutes ago. He's 10 minutes on in his lecture and he's talking about other shit as he's talking about it. He ain't talking about them radiocarbon dating no goddamn wood. That ain't even gonna prove African presence. Wood? Do you think motherfuckers is that slow? We know what kind of trees do. We know where trees come from. If they had wood, we can tell what kind of wood was used to make anything that they were making, and if it comes from Africa or if it's indigenous to the Americas. The same shit with plants. There's no wood in the Americas. that's coming from Africa before Columbus, or that predates Columbus or Christ? How the fuck did you come to that conclusion? And then you use an AI that still don't prove shit. That don't help your argument at all. Won't you ask AI if the Olmec heads are African? Watch what AI say to your ass. You want to use AI for a simple, broad answer about dating? You can't even use that for that. Won't you ask AI, are the Olmec heads representatives of Africans? Let's see if you're going to post that in the chat.
Not only the nose now and the lips, the hair is clearly Africoid because.
Hold on, what you say? I don't care nothing about the dates. Van Sertima, who's arguing? Listen, you're trying to find something to hang your head on the Van Sertima. I don't give a shit about dates. He said that there was Africans in the Americas before Christ. No evidence of that. Ain't shit you can use to substantiate that. We ain't got no evidence. There's no burial grounds. There's no African traditions. There's no African species, different species of plants, of food. None of that shit. So you sitting here and you're trying to say something about a goddamn date? No, motherfucker. The date ain't the problem. It's the claim the motherfucker made. He claimed that Africans were in America before Christ and before Columbus, and that he had radiocarbon dated evidence. And the fuck he don't. There is no Africanity nowhere in the Americas before our black asses got off a boat with a Portuguese, a Spanish, a Dutch, a British, none of them motherfuckers. Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Even though you could say that some Asiatic types who came across the Bering Straits may have Africoid type features, the hair now is very distinctive.
Oh, an admission. You may have. Go ahead.
You could say that some Asiatic types who came across the Bering Straits may have Africoid type features. The hair now is very distinctive. The kink and coil of the Africoid hair, very distinctive on the head of the terracottas. And what?
How the fuck do you know on the terracotta heads what the fuck the hair is like? How do you come to the conclusion of a sculpture that the head is a representation of a certain kinky type head? How do you do it? It's all lookership. All lookership. I'm finna pull it up. Hold on one second. He said kinky, right? That what y'all heard him say, kinky, right? Let me show y'all this woman real quick. You see that hair? That's what Vino like. Vino like when you pull up pictures. Vino like pictures. Vino slow. He like pictures. You gotta do him like that. And that's a Mayan woman. Vino like pictures. Hold on. Let me give this nigga another picture. Since Vino, you like pictures so much. Let me give you another picture. Here you go, Vino. Look, his hair like yours, Vino. He got them lines in his head like yours, shaved off. Look at that. His hair up in that little tweed right there. Little plaits and all that. I thought that only black people braided their hair. Vino. I thought that only black people braided their hair. Hold on, y'all couldn't see it. My bad. Buka. There you go. Vino. I thought only black people did this. I thought that's all black people did, Vino. These other people don't braid their hair. Ain't that what you said? They don't do that. They don't braid their hair, huh, Vino? They ain't got that in their culture, right? They ain't got that down there where they at. They ain't the dark skinned men. They ain't the dark skinned men, right? That what you saying? Them ain't the original peoples. Them ain't the original peoples, Sean P. Sean P, the original peoples. Where these dark skinned people, Sean P, that they talking about that were here before Columbus, Sean P? They say in the source, Sean P, that they were dark skinned peoples, Sean P. They call them black people that came from the South, Sean P. I don't care what the signs say, Sean P. I don't care that you got the DNA on who these people were, Sean P. But the source said that they were black and that they came from the South, Sean P. You heard Van Sertimas say, Sean P. You just hating on Van Sertimas and you hating on my boy Tyreek, Sean P. Because they say that we've been here. They say that we've been here, Sean P. Why is you tripping on that, Sean P? Why is you tripping? You know what I'm saying? Show me somebody that look like that, Sean P. Show me that. Show me the dark-skinned peoples, Sean P. Can you do that for me? Can you do that? Can you look up the dark-skinned peoples in the region, Sean P? And watch, we're gonna show you that we've been here, Sean P. Drop the link, Sean P. I'm trying to help you, Sean P. That's how you talk, silly, stupid. You say dumb. You just dumb, bro. You just dumb, bro. You'll see a painting like this, right? You, A1, AP, all you dummies. I'll see some shit like this. You'll see some shit like this and be like, there go the black people right there, Sean P. You just showed it. You just showed the black people. It's a painting. Yeah, it's a painting. But you just showed the black people. Now show me them people right there like that. You got in that picture right there, Sean P. Show me them people right there, Sean P. Show me the exact same people in the picture right there, Sean P. Do that for me. Show me them people, Sean. That ain't them people, Sean P. That ain't the people in the painting, Sean P. You playing with me, Sean P. Why you doing me like that, Sean P? I said the black peoples in Central and South America, Sean P. Vino. Here you go, Vino. Here you go, Vino. A melanated person right here, looking just like the painting that I just showed you, with his hair up in the back, all that. Hair up in the back, all that. No, Sean P, that ain't the same, Sean P. You tripping, bro. You tripping, Sean P. You can't, you just trying to do that on purpose, Sean P. I know what you're trying to do to me, Sean P. You trying to embarrass me. You're trying to embarrass me, but we them people, Sean P. I don't care what you say, we them people. You know what I'm saying? Just look at the picture, Sean P. Just look. Just look at the picture. Just look at the old man here, Sean P. They tell all our biological makeup, Sean P. Right there. Them us right there, Sean P. Forget what Van Sertimas say, because we ain't no Africans. We ain't no Africans. We them people. That's how dumb you are. Y'all use somebody else's argument and then try to make it your own argument and then effed it up. No, Sean P, you got to see the real painting, Sean P. Show me the painting, Sean P, again. Now, show me them people in the painting, Sean P. Show me them people. Okay, Vino. Here go the people again in another ritualistic ceremony. Brown-skinned. Brown-skinned. Right here. No, Sean P, they got painting. They got painting on them, Sean P. Them people painted, Sean P. You know what I'm saying? Look. Nope. But look what he wearing. The same ritualistic style bullshit in they painting murals. You goof troops don't even know what y'all talking about. You just be running around here trying to infiltrate people's culture and don't even know what y'all looking at. No, Sean P, there's black people in them paintings, Sean P. Why you think they painted the people black, Sean P? They painted them black. Now show me them people that's painted black, Sean P. You call these people black people. When I'm showing you the same variations as a clear representation for them people in the region, and you're calling these people black. You don't know what they endured, went through, or so on and so forth. You don't. And you stealing from them. You should be ashamed of yourself. You want to be these people so bad, but you don't want to go through the hell that they went through when they encountered these diseases that damn near wiped out all the people that they once knew, trying to survive that shit. No, Sean P, what you showing on the screen, Sean P, and what I'm talking about is two different things, Sean P. I'm trying to get you to show me the black peoples that look like them peoples in the painting that you got on the screen, Sean P. Can you show me again? Put the other picture up. Put the other picture up with the other people on there and show me, Sean P. Them peoples looking just like that, with the same hairdressers and the same look and the same stance, and that they doing the same thing, Sean P. You can't do that, Sean P. I bet you can't do that. And then you're gonna sit here and say, you're gonna say this and you're gonna say that, Sean P. And I'm telling you, them is black people, Sean P. They black people. They black. Here you go. Boom. Boom. Same as the painting with the head styles. Boom. Boom. This ain't no black person. That ain't no black person. But their skin is just the same as the paintings. As the paintings. You see how he looked? Now look back there. They go a black person right there. Dark-skinned person right there. We don't know what he mixed with, but he looked like he on a tour. He on a tour. Now, that person I just put on the screen and matched them up with this right here. Yep. Clear representation. Clear representation. You see how you just try to steal from these people? Nah, Shampoo, you bullshitting, Shampoo. Look, let me explain to you, Shampoo. I got a source right here. I got a source. Source says that the people came from the South and was trading in gold tip spears, and they had with them some more motherfuckers, Sean P. Some more motherfuckers that you ain't trying to show. The real blacks. We the real blacks, Sean P. We the real blacks up here, Sean P. You keep on showing the Mongoloid, Sean P. You ain't showing the other person, Sean P. You keep showing the Mongoloid, Sean P. Nah, Sean showing the real shit. Dark skin. Dark skin. I ain't talking about his hands. I ain't talking about the paint. I ain't dealing with none of that. Skin is a clear representation of the people in the region. No, Sean P. See, Sean P., your last 4 pictures, Sean P., are all Mongoloid, Sean P. Them ain't the Negroes that I'm talking about in the painting, Sean P. This painting, Vino? You mean this painting right here? Yes, Sean P. This painting right here, Sean P. Them is not Mongoloids. Them is the Negroids, Sean P. Don't look nothing like him, Sean P., that you was just showing a second ago. How, Vino? Look, since you can take a painting and make it somebody's phenotypical phenotype, how, Vino? They look just alike. It's a clear representation. The artwork, the stylist, the way that they rocking they fits, the whole 9 yards. You're going to find some type of, no, Sean P., that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, Sean P., is them peoples is in the region, Sean P., but them peoples come after us, Sean P. They come way after us, Sean P. Them is the Mongoloids. That's what Sertimas was calling the Asiatic, Sean P. They came in and they came in after us. Like they ain't even from here, Sean P. They came through the Bering Strait. Them people, that's true. But them people ain't us indigenous peoples that you hear them talk about in Peru, Sean P. You mean them Africans? Vino? No, Sean P. That's not what I'm saying. See, man, you trying to play with me, Sean P. Why you doing me like this? Why you doing me like this, Sean P? See, I ain't gotta let you up. I can have a conversation with you on my own, because that's how stupid you be sounding when you be saying this, that, and the third, bro. And then when I sit here and show you these dark-skinned people, you are unappreciative. And they have different variations, because there's some lighter-skinned people in the region, and then there's the people that I've been showing you. No, Sean P. No, Sean P. That can't be true, Sean P. Can't be true. Can't be true, Sean P. Them was Mongoloids, Sean P. Look at his skin. And you can see the tan from where he been out in the sun on his chest compared to under his arms and shit. Look at the tan from being out in the sun. And then look by his arms. Is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to this. I'm not using lookership. I don't use this shit at all, because anytime we talking about what somebody look like, I'm going to their DNA. I need to know their biological makeup. I want to know I want to know their DNA. But this is what y'all are doing. And now when somebody show y'all what y'all doing and then show you the people who it's representing, now it's, oh, but why can't you use look a shit? Bro, look. Fuck out of here, bro. Let me do myself a favor. Do myself a favor. Look what he's saying now. Now he in the group. Now he's saying, yeah, I got you now. Now if we look at Vino, that's my people, Sean P. I'm Mayan descent. No, the fuck you ain't Mayan descent. These are people that's in these are the Mayan people. How are you saying that they ain't? You just told us the other day that your granddaddy was from Mali. According to his DNA, what you said. That's according to what you said. You ain't read none of them artistic paintings on the wall, bro. Y'all just be making up shit. Running around, ain't read none of them codexes. Running around here talking about you this, that, and the third, bro. You don't know nothing about none of them people. About none of them. You ain't about none of that, bro. None of that. Look at this lady. Look at this lady right here. You don't know nothing about none of that. Look at her skin. Look how dark her skin is. She don't look nothing like you. She one of them members. She one of them members. But her skin dark though, Vino. You said dark skin. She in the region and that's her skin. She ain't Africa or nothing. She ain't even mixed with Africa. She's a clear representation of the people in the region. That's what I'm telling you. You playing with fire. You ain't never been down there. You need go down there. They ain't gonna look at you like if you go to Africa and they see you. They gonna look at you like a tourist. You go to Africa, they gonna look at you like, my brother, where you been? I'm glad you made it home. Oh, you don't want to talk about that, huh? You don't want to go that route. Interesting. Because you're a fake, you're a phony, you're a fraud. You're a coward. You're a coward. You want to be everything but who you really need to be. You're a coward. You're a high-powered coward. Look how dumb he is. High-powered coward. Give these people their respect, bro. Quit stealing their culture. You don't know these people from nowhere. You just running around here perpetrating a fraud. You so fake and phony, you don't even know what you talking about. And then them people look how they look and all of their descriptives, all that, man. You don't look nothing like them. You don't look nothing like them, bro. You don't know nothing about their culture, bro. You don't know nothing about their culture. I'm gonna do it one more time. Get my last one of these pictures for you. You know, my last one of these pictures for you, bro. Look at this lady, dark skinned lady right here. Dark skinned lady right here. Look at her being out there in that motherfucking sun. They kill your whole argument. And then you got dumbass niggas like Joseph Johnson in the chat talking about listen to let me show y'all this reverse racism. I'm gonna show y'all because you know what I mean this is serious. Look at here. Look. He believes those savage people built America. Representative. What? You ain't even making sense, bro. You ain't even making sense, bro. You don't even know what's what. You said the same dumb comment twice. You sound just like white people saying that Africans didn't build the civilizations and things that Africans built. You saying that about these people. You saying that about Kevin Troy and Thomas, Oklahoma, and Midwest. Now, you saying that these people didn't have the ingenuity to build great things. That's the same game the white people play. You doing the same revert. You doing the same shit they on, bro. Don't nobody respect none of that shit y'all talking about, bro. None of it. Y'all don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Straight up. They ain't built nothing. Vino ain't built shit in his life. Vino ain't even have Legos to play with when he was a kid. That motherfucker ain't never built nothing. He ain't have Legos. He ain't play Tetris. He ain't built shit. When he claimed he ran track, when he claimed he played football, he ain't built nothing. Man ain't built nothing ever. Vino ain't built shit. Yeah, Joseph, you look like a savage. You look like a savage. You ain't got no information. You ain't got number claims. You ain't got no evidence, and you can't prove shit. Servo de Dios, correct. It is the two ignorant people that's in the chat that's claiming that. So an elbow wouldn't be considered a savage if it was real. She killed y'all. She killed you. She killed you right here. She killed you right here. Yeah, that's how hypocritical they are. Y'all claiming to be them people, but y'all ain't even them people. You ain't none of them members, man. Leave them people alone. Quit stealing from them. You a thief. You a new age thief. You a new age thief. You ain't got no business to stand on, bro. None of it. Y'all ain't no different. Leo Winter book is trash. Van Sertimas book is trash. All them sources in the book is trash. And you definitely ain't no Black Seminole, you know. Your shit trash. Yep, the Abos is jealous of Native American culture because they're trying to run away from Africa so bad that they left out there by themselves. They claim not to be African. They claim not to be Native American. Well, what the fuck are y'all? Y'all claim not to be Homo sapiens sapiens. What the fuck are y'all? Ain't nobody reading a book written by yo nigga. You can't even write a page. How the fuck you think we finna read a book by you? You can't even write a paragraph, nigga. You can't even spell right, but you finna sit around here and gonna tell us to read a book. You can't even spell. You can't even spell. Watch this. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes real quick. Show me the primary evidence of your people being in the building anything among the Olmec or the Mayans. There go the link in the chat. You got 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Show me a primary source of your people building anything in Mesoamerica with evidence. I want the evidence of your quote unquote people building shit. This nigga said new age spelling. Fuck out of here. There go the link. Hop on here and show me primary evidence of your people building anything in Mesoamerica. You better have a source. You ain't got no source, you're getting kicked. Where your source?
Abraham Town.
No, I said primary evidence of your people building
Abraham Town.
in Mesoamerica. Mesoamerica.
Oh, the Bonaparte.
Where is it? Where's the primary evidence?
Bonaparte.
One more time. Where
the wall murals.
Okay, so you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You ain't got no primary evidence. I asked you for primary evidence of your people building anything in Mesoamerica. I don't need you claiming pots. I don't need you claiming shirts. I said primary evidence. I asked you for primary evidence and you didn't have any. I said, hit the link, come up here and show me your primary evidence. And you could not do it. You got to go. Straight up. MC Fact says, I was just referred here as a result of debating blacks in America before slavery. So MC Fact, are you a proponent of blacks being in America before slavery, or what's your position on that? Because I see your comment. So do you think black people didn't, hold on, let me rephrase that. Do you think black people came before Columbus or after? As far as Vino goes, maybe he don't know what primary means. He probably don't, but we've explained it to him many times. Vino was on the fries that day at McDonald's. That's why his head shining like that, the sun hitting his head like that, because he was on the fries at McDonald's. You seen McDonald's in the background? You still ain't showed me primary evidence. Cujo Town, that's an African town. The first blacks in Florida were all Africans. Them Cimarroons was African. Vino, you be killing yourself, bro. When you be talking, you just be killing yourself, bro. The dude who was referred here ain't said shit since I asked him a straight up question. And you ain't even got evidence that you're related to anybody in Florida as far as Abraham and Cudjoe goes. And Cudjoe is an African name. So you're really killing yourself. You ain't helping yourself at all. You just need to stop. You just need to stop, bro. Yeah, you trash. 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 You ain't got no information, bro. Shit trash. You ain't got nothing. Why? Don't refer to a Georgia historian. We pulled a source up and then it don't agree with you. Then it goes back to a conversation that I had about people like you that don't know how to utilize real information. Yeah, you is a clown. What you show up for? I asked you one simple thing, bro. One, I said, come up here and show me primary evidence of your peoples building anything in Mesoamerica. Nigga, you went to Florida. Make it make sense. Mesoamerica. Central America, not the United States. I said Mesoamerica. Your people building shit. Primary. You ain't got it. Fuck out of here. Talking about the Mayans is your people. Nah. You don't know no Mayan language. You don't know shit about them Mayans. Them Mayan people done told us that they been there. They ain't never left. Fuck out of here. Exactly. It's hypocritical. This nigga's all over the place. Oh, now you're a Mayan. Why he can't tell us why he a Mayan. They all do that. Him, A1, AP, they try to latch on to some shit over here that don't even belong to them niggas. Niggas is trash. Y'all mamas failed y'all. Whoever y'all mamas is, your mamas failed y'all. Cause ain't no way my motherfucking kids' mama gonna fail them. Ain't no way. I won't be with no female that don't know the real shit. Ain't no way. Y'all mama failed y'all, bro. Straight up. Y'all mamas failed. If y'all thinking like that, y'all mamas failed y'all, bro. Or she kicked y'all ass out the house or something. You and that nigga Joseph in the chat. Y'all mamas failed y'all. Y'all were. Y'all probably didn't have no mama. They probably gave y'all ass up for adoption or some shit because they knew y'all was dumb. They had y'all ass, dropped y'all on y'all head, seen y'all couldn't think straight, was like, nah, I'm gonna go have me some more kids. These niggas ain't it. That's what y'all mama did to y'all. Y'all mamas had y'all, seen that y'all was slow, gave y'all up for adoption, and had more kids, and said these kids got more sense than the motherfucker that I just had. They literally gave y'all dumbasses away. This nigga said you ain't using common sense. Common sense ain't even a method used to prove anything. Because what's common in Florida ain't common in Cali. What's common in Cali ain't common in Texas. What's common in Texas ain't common in New York. What's common in New York ain't common in Illinois. What's common in Illinois ain't common in Georgia. What's common in Georgia ain't common in Ohio. What's common in Ohio damn sure ain't common in South Dakota. What's common in South Dakota ain't common in Washington. What's common in Washington ain't common in Alabama. So the shit ain't common. Fuck out of here. Talking about you ain't using common sense. No, nigga, you right, I ain't. I'm using proper research methodology. I'm using evidence-based information to come to an honest conclusion. Fuck your opinion. Your mama dropped you on your head. And she gave you up once she realized that you were slow. When she read A Cat in the Hat to you and you thought A Cat in the Hat was talking about a race car, she just gave you up. She ain't finna do this. She ain't finna do this. She said, nah, I ain't even finna put myself through this scrutiny. This kid's special. He need help. I'm gonna go give him up to some people that can help his special ed ass. And I don't blame her. Making her life a living hell. Because your ass slow. Straight up. People who claim to be indigenous to the Americas that are black are slow. They all failed and probably didn't graduate high school. They just slow. Stupid and slow. I talked to a lady the other day, told me that she been living in Ghana for the last like few years. She came home, married her husband, and now she finna take him back to Ghana. They've been here for a little while. She in Washington, D.C. She told me to tell all y'all Aboriginals this. And I put this on everything that I love. She said, bring your black ass back to Africa. That was the lady told me. Elderly lady. She said, bring your black asses back to Africa. I said, what do you got to say to the people that think that they always been here? Tell them to bring their black asses to Africa. Look at Vino. Man, he mad now. Man, your mama saw your slow ass and was like, she was done, bro. Some mamas care enough that they're willing to fight through that shit. I'm seeing some strong black women out there, Vino, but your mama, she couldn't. She said, no. You and Joseph, nah. She was like, nope. Y'all mamas, both of y'all mamas was like, They took y'all asses to the boys' home, dropped y'all ass off. Y'all niggas was, y'all fucked up mentally. Straight up. So listen, man, I'm about to get me some go out to eat, man. I ain't finna be on here all day. I could, but I'm finna get me some food, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in. I might run it back, do a part 2 of the information and the breakdown. Let everybody know what it is. Peace to all the real out there, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend. It's your boy Sean Peasy in the place to Beezy. I'm the Aboriginal killer, the anti-science killer, and the lady thriller. Get out of here.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find y'all
own genealogy?
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK. TKO. Now he's a con. OTK. You died. TKO. Genealogy.